All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming by. We're going to do this beautiful watercolor painting here. This is a gorgeous stone house in the countryside. We're going to do this beautiful stonework on the front of the house. Beautiful slate roof on top here. Gorgeous details, chimneys, all the gorgeous trees and greenery, that bushes that are in this lively scene. It's like a summer scene. Gorgeous, beautiful stone house here. Let's see if we can zoom in a little more here. Okay, so this is the painting, and then now in just a few seconds we're going to go step by step. I'll show you each step of the way, all the methods, all the techniques to get this done. We'll start off with a preliminary sketch, which is a very, very light sketch to make sure we're laying out our structure here in our rectangle just right. Once we've done that, we're going to go over with a darker pencil line so that we can see clearly where we have to paint, and we'll get that nice feel of a pencil drawing, a good solid pencil drawing done. And then thirdly, we'll go in and we'll start doing all our washes, and you'll see how to do the washes, where to start, what colors to mix. I name all the colors so you have all the colors you'll need. I have everything as we go. I'll explain each of the colors we use, the mixes, the washes, the techniques of how to put them on, the washes, and you'll have an absolutely fun time. You'll be able to do this painting with no problem. You just follow along on our video here, and we'll be all set. So I'll be right back, and we'll start our drawing and painting. Okay, so we just looked at the finished painting, and we're just getting back started again, and this is just a lot of fun. We're going to do a quick scene of just a house, a beautiful house out in the countryside, a nice stone house. We'll have some nice greenery. It'll be like summertime, kind of like that summer feel for the painting. So my idea here is just to try to keep it real simple. I'm actually going to have a ruler. I have a ruler here, so I might use my ruler to get a couple lines for my house here, my stone house, and roof and chimneys. So it's going to be a cool improv here. I'm just going to improvise and create something just, by getting creative and just saying to myself, what am I going to make this? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to make the house about, again, we're thinking design. Let's key in on design all the time. Say to ourselves, where do we want our subject matter, especially if you're going to do something like this where you're going to create a scene, and you might not have a reference photo. You might be just trying to create it out of your imagination. You're just having fun doing, it's fun to just sometimes create something, not worry about having to use a photo, or you can just draw from your experience. Maybe it's a house you used to live in, or it could be maybe a house that you used to go on vacation to, or something like that. You can draw from your past memories of houses you used to enjoy. Maybe a neighbor's house you liked, you lived in your house and you had a neighbor's house too. It was really interesting, so you're going to kind of create something like that. So whatever it is, you have a good time with it, have fun. And again, we'll just do a little bit of design. Let's keep the house where we want to have the house like lower in the picture. So this is always important to kind of get your idea solid in your mind of keeping the design principles foremost. So if I'm going to create a house and put it into this triangle, and here we have our triangle, and I'll just go right around the triangle with a pencil line so we can kind of see that clearly. I know sometimes the lights kind of don't allow us to see the border where the tape is, so I'm going to draw the line around. So that's it's more like it's kind of more of a square. It is sort of rectangular. It's a little more taller than it is wider, but so that's my square I'm working within. This is Arch's rough paper. I just wanted to put that in there too. Great paper, especially for houses and landscapes and things like that. So I'll use my pen here just to get a few. Let's make our bottom of our house here. So I'll just put bottom of house there. just so it's sitting. The idea is the house is sitting in the picture, kind of resting lower in the picture, feels like it's kind of stable. That really looks good, you know, a house sitting lower in the picture. There's other ways to do it. You can also come up with other game plans, but that's always a good default. That's always a good, solid, putting some kind of structure like a house, a building, a car, a person, whatever it is, having it setting lower in the rectangle or square is going to look more like it's stable, it's resting on something, versus if we drew something high up in the picture frame here, it might look like it's floating around. It might look, and that can be a cool idea too, but for this we'll stick with the idea of it being stable and kind of relaxing on the ground in the picture frame here. So we'll do that. We'll make the bottom there. Then we're going to keep it pretty large. We're going to make our stone house here really large, you know, in the picture, so it fills up the space, the picture space. We don't want to draw a house that's maybe like the size of an eraser like this. And next thing you know, we have all this other stuff like that. We don't know what we're going to do with all that other space around. So a good dominant feel for your painting is, the dominance of it is going to be a beautiful stone house, and it's going to be large, and it's going to be right in the center pretty much of our picture frame here, and it's going to be a little bit lower in the picture frame, setting down almost like it's sitting on a table, or it's, you know, sitting on the ground and really secured and feels good. And then I think after those two ideas, I think we're really good. So having it sit nice and stable, and then having our house fill up the picture frame, so that we don't wind up with kind of an issue trying to figure out what we're going to do around it. We're going to paint in some bushes and trees and have some really fun, have fun doing that. But I guess the main thing is let's make this stone house large. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to have the ground level about there, maybe even a little bit less. We might even go a little lower like that. And we could maybe make the ground level here, and the house will sit lower than the ground level like that. And okay, so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rough silhouette of what I think the house is going to look like here. So I'm just going to have fun with this, and so maybe I'll make this part here like so. Maybe I'll put a little bit of angle on this too. You can use a ruler like this, and then put a little angle on the, so you can kind of angle everything up a little bit like this. That kind of makes the structure look a little more interesting, versus if we just made everything like square. And maybe I'll get a piece of scrap paper and just kind of show the idea. So if we wanted to draw a house in 2 dimensions, let's say, and we just go with the kind of a square look to it, just like this, let's say. That looks good. Now, we could do something a little more interesting, is put a little bit of angle on it. So maybe it just looks a little bit like that. It's very slight, but you can kind of see I tapered the walls a little bit here. You might not have to do it all that much. Maybe that's a little bit too extreme, but I wanted to show you the example of kind of maybe putting a little bit of a angle to the picture, to the structure, just so it kind of feels like maybe it's tall and it's going up in the air, and kind of it feels like it's maybe taller than it seems. So that's a little idea. I'm going to try to use that idea of maybe just tapering the walls ever so slightly. So instead of a complete 100% accurate square like so, I put a little bit of taper on the walls, and it might look good. We will see. So let's keep moving on here. And again, I'm going to start off with a very light pencil drawing, like a silhouette of the structure maybe. And okay, just like that. So we're going to have the just going to do a silhouette. Maybe I'll make the roof, I'll break up the roof line. Maybe I'll make the roof here. Then I'll make the wall here and then make this other roof up here a little higher. Like that. And then maybe across here we're going to have a... So I'm just going to try to, I'm going to make up a little feature here. Maybe we'll make a little radius up top here, like a cone type roof here. Yeah, I think that looks good. And then another chimney over here. So I guess I broke up the roof a little bit so that it's not just straight across. We'll make it a little more interesting. And again, you can see I'm tapering this out a little bit, like that. And we'll have some bushes over here. So, and then we'll have this here's going to go straight down like that maybe. Kind of designing my own house here. I would like to live in this. This would be kind of cool. And this is going to be a door in here. And we'll have a window over here. And then I just, again, the very light sketch. We're going to go over this a second time. So remember, we're going to always do a first preliminary sketch just to get the basic idea. And you could copy any house you want from online. So you can go onto the internet and find any kind of style house you'd like to draw and put into your painting, and you can use all the same techniques. This is a stone house, so you're going to kind of see how we're going to do the stone effect on the front. But this is my rendition of something interesting, but you can obviously create your own ideas, and that's fine. You can use photos for references or magazines, articles, whatever. And then we'll just maybe put a window in here. Like that. Then maybe we'll put a large window over here in the center of this wall. Like so. And maybe some big shutters here. Like that, and then some more. We're going to have some bushes over here. Maybe some more over there. Some steps there. Okay, so good. We got a good looking stone house here. Maybe another feature over here or two. Let's put another couple small dormers here. Couple interesting dormers, maybe with some conical roof features there, like so. That looks good. Stone chimneys here. Let's put some chimney pots on these. All right, perfect. What we'll do is we'll take a break. It's good to take breaks again, so I just did this light sketch just to get everything the way I want it. Maybe I'll just take an idea here of some trees, maybe in the background, here in the distance a little bit. So a distant bit of trees there, and then maybe some bushes in front here. We'll have maybe a pathway going like that. So we'll have a little pathway there, and then again we'll take a break. Just wanted to put in some trees in the background here. And we'll have fun here. We'll do some, maybe there's another path that leads over here too in the distance. Just creating some ideas. So some distance in the background over here so that we feel like there's really like some that three-dimensional feel is real important. A lot of times it can really enhance the painting and our composition. So we'll just make it like paths on both sides of the house going back, and we'll put in some like light through these trees so you can kind of see like there's a way, you know, there's some space behind there, some air, some breathing space through the picture. So we'll bring that sky wash down and in between some of these trees so that we give it that feel of light coming through the backs, from the very, very back of the painting, the very distance. Even maybe a little bit of a mountain or two, a mountain shape or something going through the back of the picture. We can do that. Maybe we won't get that fancy, but all right. Let's have a good time with this, everybody. Again, take your time, do that preliminary sketch first so that you, whatever, if you're going to copy this, I hope you'll copy this and do what I'm doing here. I know it's kind of hard to see. Probably it's maybe, yeah, I can see it through the camera here so you can see this, but I'll go over this a second time with a darker pencil line. Just wanted to do my first pencil sketch, my first, as we call it, a preliminary sketch, just so we get everything the way we want it on the paper. Then we go in and do our final drawing over the top of this, and then we go in and paint. The reason I do that preliminary sketch, again, I always mention this, is so that if I have a problem where I maybe drew something a little too small, a little too large, maybe something else happened where I just had an issue with an angle, or a problem with maybe something else that I forgot, I left something out, whatever. You have that freedom to just lightly pick up the pencil lines anywhere you want on a very light sketch like this, and you'll never see it. It won't ruin the paper. It won't look bad, and you can just fix the area quickly with no problem. So that's the main thing. With the preliminary sketch, you get that in first, and now we'll go over and you'll see how good it looks. We're going to go over with a darker pencil line, and I'll just take a quick break, and we'll be right back in just a few seconds. And I always mention, please subscribe down below here on the right hand side. If you hit subscribe, you'll be, you know, right along with us every week. We're painting, we're creating new paintings just like this. We're doing houses, seascapes, landscapes, flowers. We're doing boats, all kinds of great stuff. I hope you're going to join along with us each week. So if you do, hit that subscribe button below, and even click the notification bell that says all notifications. Then anytime a video comes out, you'll be right with us. You'll get to watch it. If you want to paint along, you paint along. If you don't feel like painting along, that's fine. You can just watch. You're going to learn a lot and keep retaining all of that information as you listen over and over, which is going to be really help you in your watercolor painting. So I hope you'll keep sticking with us here week after week. We're having a great time. So again, let me take a quick break, and then I'll be right back, okay? All right, see you in just a few seconds. Bye-bye. Hey, we're back, and let's get started. We're doing our contour drawing now. We're going over the top of our preliminary sketch. So we just talked about the reasons for the preliminary sketch, and there's a lot of great reasons for that. Let's always practice that, get that in there before you go with your final contour drawing. So let's start out here. Obviously, I'm kind of just working with my own creative idea of a stone house here. So I'll just trace over, though. I'll just go over these lines one more time, and I'm going to start right down here. I'm going to go over here, And even maybe let's make some, there's a little bit of maybe some ivy over here. Some little bit of ivy up here. It's an interesting stone house here, and a slate roof, a cool, interesting slate roof. And I'll try to go here next, try to stay close by to where I started. And this is going to kind of blend in there, so I don't have to worry about that too much. Put a little bit of roundness to it. And we're going to do this. Okay, I'll put a little bit of roundness there too, underneath the eaves of this round conical roof. And we'll do our window here, like so. And then we're going to paint in the panes. We'll take our time doing some fine brushwork there with these windows. And these here kind of there we go. And then maybe we'll put some fancy trim under here too, maybe. So I'll just put some indications of some fancy trim at the underside of the eaves of this roof here. And I'll come up here too, and I don't want to make this completely square, so or straight. We'll put some waviness to that roof. Have fun with your drawing, and again, it's really your drawing is so much fun when you actually you're kind of using your contour drawing underneath. I mean, your preliminary drawing underneath. It's more relaxing and fun because you already have down that general idea of things first. And now when I'm doing my darker pencil lines here, you can see I'm just kind of going through it, nice pace. I have a rhythm to my drawing now. Whereas if I was trying to draw this only one time, the issue with that is it kind of loses that flow. So if you can imagine your contour drawing over the top of a preliminary drawing, you're going to get that nice flow. You're going to be flowing, going quicker. There'll be a rhythm to your drawing, and that'll show through your pencil lines, and that'll actually look really great. It actually does enhance the look of the drawing and the overall subject matter that you're creating. So that's always an important thing to remember. You know, not everyone's style is the same. I realize maybe, you know, some people like more accurate drawings and things, and that's fine. I just kind of share what I do, and you can add, you know, you can take some of the things I share and use it in your artwork, or if you like to do things differently, that's fine too. I encourage everybody to find your own voice in your artwork. So you know, you need to find what you think is good and makes sense to you, and that's fine. Everyone's not the same. And I'll just do these panes kind of quickly here, and I'll do the same thing. And these are interesting shutters here. You could get into some detail on the shutters. I wouldn't do more than that, you know. A couple little details to it, maybe. Maybe a couple of support boards on there. And let's see here. This is some bushes over here, so I'll just draw these in a little more than we did before. I just want to kind of place them there. It doesn't have to be, I'll do most of the work with the brush and paint and water, but I just want to get the ideas of the bushes here. And then here we'll put some steps going like that. door, maybe a couple more steps there. There's the door. Then we'll go with an interesting, maybe like that. And you can space out the panes the way you'd like. You can leave out the panes too, I imagine, and just put some very loose indications of some panes of glass with a square brush if you want, or maybe we'll use a square brush maybe for the panes, the window panes here, I think. And we're gonna have some lintels over the top of the windows and some sills here, some stone sills. We'll kind of dress this up a little bit. And then maybe over here we'll do some stone work. I think we'll leave that the way that is. Maybe just some. We won't get too fancy with the stonework, drawing in each individual stone. I think I'm gonna leave it just more loose and fun. You could get more fancy. Let's maybe do some coins here. So we'll just put some stone coins here on the corners. So these would just be maybe like limestone coin corners, they call them. That'll dress up the outer corners of the house, the stone facade here. And then let's make sure we'll put the sill in here, the stone sill, and maybe we'll put another stone sill up, a stone header over the top of that window. And I think that's good. So the architecture really is complete. It's just, stonework with coin corners, stone headers, and stone sills that I just drew in for fun. The key thing with that is making sure that your stone headers and your stone sills go beyond the edge of the windows, because that's something that really will make it look really very, very true to life and very realistic. So if you just make a note of that your headers and your stone sills are going to go beyond the frame of the window, and that's all you have to worry about on that. And the shutters, we made these large, right? So these shutters could cover these windows actually if we close them over. And what else? The chimneys look good. We could put some, well, we're just going to paint, we're going to have a fun time creating some stonework on this house with our paints and everything. You're going to see how much fun and easy it is actually. And then maybe we'll put just a little point weather vane up there. And what else can we do? Well, we can get this in here. Let's get our distant bushes and trees over here. And I'm just putting in my bushes here. And there's some I'm just trying to get that feel of the bushes kind of like flowing in here, and then we have a path here. We'll make this like a stone path going back here. Like so. So you see I'll put that stone path about to that point there. So maybe an inch up from the bottom of this house. That'll be like where the horizon line is for the ground level back here. And then I'll just transfer that over across the painting. Doesn't have to be perfectly exact, but it would be good to do. So I'll take another ruler here and I'll just kind of make sure I get that the same, approximately, so that my ground level horizon line in the back is about the same here all the way across to here too. Once we have that, and we do some more work on that just to get the trees a little more drawn in. The trees, we just draw those in a little more, make sure we kind of are happy with the way our trees are looking here. Looks good. And that's it. The sky will be fine. We're just going to do a really simple sky, no worries. And then we can leave this we can do that. We can make the stone path coming out like so. And then maybe over here we'll have another like that. There we go. So we have a stone path over here. And maybe over here we'll leave that just grass over here. So we'll leave this grass over here. Stone path over here. A stone path that goes around and then goes into the distance. And you'll see this is going to look really beautiful once we paint it, so that now we're really going to have some fun. So get our brushes. We're going to get our brushes ready, our paint ready. My paint's ready. I'll just usually give it a little spritzer with our spritzer bottle. And then we're going to start painting next, but I just want to take another break because we did a lot of work here, and that's what I always like to do, is kind of refresh, have a little cup of coffee or something, a glass of water, some iced tea. Take a seat, have a seat. I stand when I do my YouTube videos here, so I like to sit down in a chair, maybe put on YouTube, watch a cool video or something like that, and that's about it. And then I'll come back in like 10 minutes when I'm ready to come back, and we'll finish this up. It'll take a couple. We'll probably do this in 3 more segments, so we'll probably take 3 segments to finish this painting here on the stone house. The first thing we'll go in is do the darks. We'll do the windows, some of the darks, and we'll make the windows pretty dark, a dark wash, like our French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, right there. These top 3, those are really great. We'll add a little green into that maybe, because we have a lot of green trees, and it's the summertime here in this picture. So if we're just thinking of that, ooh, it's a nice summertime painting. So we're going to put lots of greens into the painting, trees and bushes and plants and shrubs. It's going to be a real interesting, gorgeous summer scene here with this stone house. And then our stonework, we're going to do some raw umber and the yellow ochre and some more burnt umber and burnt siennas with that. And then some cerulean blue. And then once we have those colors working for us, we'll also add in some reds, of course, too. Some alizarin crimson. Then when we start getting into the sky colors, probably our cerulean blue and cobalt blue. And we'll also mix in a little bit of the cerulean blue into our stonework to mix up some nice warms and cools with our stonework, even though it'll be predominantly warmer colors, but we will add in some cool to it, kind of harmonize the whole painting with our color scheme, repeat all of our colors everywhere on the whole painting. That it makes a nice pleasing composition in painting. So again, I'll take a quick break and I'll come right back. Okay, we're back from a break, and wow, was it a break? I'm coming back to this video actually from over a 24-hour period or so. So I had lots of time to relax, and I'm just getting started again here, and we're just going to get going here on this painting. Let's go with the flow, see what happens. We're going to make a nice looking stone house here. So let's start out. Maybe we'll get some darks going right away. Let's see what we can do for our darks, again, we said we might use a square brush, a flat brush. Let's see what we have. So I'm looking over at my assortment of flat brushes over here. And I have something pretty good. This is a number 2 Princeton flat brush. It's synthetic. That's maybe like 1/8 of an inch. So I'll wet the brush. We'll get our darks started here. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of sap green. Let's make sure we get some good darks though. French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna. There we go. Get some darks going here. And usually at this point I will get a little bit of water on there. I'll have a tissue with me to dry off my brush. I like to just let the watercolor have some freedom to do what it's going to do. So we probably don't want to force things too much where we're going every feeling like we have to make every little square of window pane perfect. Let's just do it. There we go. I'm not forcing the issue. Under here, I'm going to put a shadow underneath the header. Maybe some blue in here. Definitely some yellow ochre. Let's get some So I'm just trying to get some yellow ochre, some green, some of those green colors. We have lots of trees around here. So the window panes pick up the the greenery around the trees, the bushes. So let's make sure we consider that as we go. And there we go. This is a little more in shadow, and there's some bushes over here. So we have some ivy over here by the doorway. I think I'll leave this. Like that. So see, we're getting in our darks here. That's the first thing we want to establish in our painting is the darks. This is alla prima technique, method. So this is where we get in the darks first, and then we just continue to work the darks, and then the medium tones we'll focus on next after that, and then the lights are last. The really, really light lights are last. So that would be the sky. The sky is going to be a light sky, like a light bluish color. So we're just going to take our time here, get our darks in. So there we've got our really strong, powerful darks in here. And it's looking wonderful. And then maybe we'll work in some roof color here. So the roof we're going to make some blue. Let's use some cerulean blue for the roof colors, cobalt blue, French ultramarine blue. So we're going to get some blues out on the palette. We're not going to make it super dark. Sap green, we want some greens in there too. So I'm sort of mixing up my colors I'll put in the roof, the slate roof. So slate is dark blues, greens, some Viridian green in there too. And also some reds and some alizarin crimson. And let's see what we can do here with our roof. Let's start up here. And that's all. We just work from our colors here. You just see how I mixed out my colors, the ones that I wanted to use. Very simple. When you're doing alla prima method, you have a little more time. You're not worried about glazing and doing like washes and then hurrying up and getting to the next wash. Here, glazing technique, you take your time. You take your time, you lay out your colors on your palette first. The roof's a little bit lighter. We're not making the roof too dark, so we're putting out some middle tones, middle tonal values. And again, we're just going to go with our blues. So we're going to use a mix of French ultramarine, cobalt blue. Let's even use some purple in there too. Since we're using purple everywhere, let's go back in and add some to our windows. Like that. So again, I'm going to use some purple. Let me add that in now. Burnt umber, burnt sienna. For our colors, for our roof, some Viridian green. And it's, you know, a really fun time that we're doing this. We're having a fun time, and we're just creating our roof colors. Roof, this is again a beautiful slate roof. So slate roofs are usually, slate is more or less blue and green with some reds in there too. You could probably find slate roofs that are maybe more red than blue and green, but I think most of the time it's going to be the blue and the greens. But again, and then I'll go with a little dark under here like that, just to kind of blend that. And again, notice we're not taking forever to do this. We're just getting in those washes. Already, look at that. We've got the right-hand side over here completed. And then maybe we'll take some darks and we'll make a little bit of darks there. And let's continue on. Slate roof. A little splash or two. We can always go over the top with another wash on top of this one to maybe make a few like slate type shapes, maybe some rectangles, or we can leave it loose like this and just enjoy the colors more than we blues and greens. More blue than and then over here, I'm going a little lighter on this portion of the roof here, a little darker up top. And then I'm going to go over here and do some raw umber, burnt umber, cerulean blue. A little bit of alizarin crimson. Just want to get some chimney colors over here. Chimney colors going. So I'm just making some stone looking colors and shapes. Some round shapes, rock shapes, a couple of darks mixed in there. Maybe we'll leave some white of the paper on these chimneys. They'll be a little bit lighter, the colors of the chimneys. Some of the stones will be very light, so let's leave that like so. And let's continue working on the roof area, and again, the blues and the greens. I'll make some gold and red over here. Just mixing the same colors over and over, putting them out onto the palette. Look at that, how fun is that? We're just mixing colors in our palette and then just putting them down on the paper. What you're seeing happening here, you might think it's wow, it's really, this looks really fancy, or it's really very technical, or it's not really. It's just like we're doing is we're getting a lot of different colors that we're using, and they're not really different. Let's say like once we start, we know we're going to go with our blues, cobalt, cerulean, French ultramarine, some purple along with that too. That's our majority of the color. Then we add in just a little bit of that alizarin crimson and some yellow ochre for a little warm variation, and that's all you have. And then you just put that on the paper and let all the paper do the work. The paper does the work here. The paint and the paper and the water and the colors do the work for you. You don't have to really stress or worry, as long as you're just mixing the colors, getting them on there. You know, I'm rinsing my brush each time, drying off a little bit of water, going in, getting some color, rinse the brush, dry off the brush a little, and just getting that on there like so. And as you can see, this is not really too difficult or you know, technical. It's just really the technical part really is the drawing. Does that make sense? The more challenging part is really taking your time getting your drawing in, but not spending too much time on it either. You don't want it to look like you're, you know, really spending hours and hours trying to draw this scene. Try to get it down as best you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect, of course, by any means. And then once your drawing is in there, then the rest is real simple. You're just mixing out your colors on your palette so that you have a good variation of colors, fresh colors, and we just keep going. As you can see, I'm going lighter at the bottom of the roof and darker at the top of the roof. So I'm pretending that the sunlight is coming straight overhead and it's catching the roof where it starts to flare out. So if you can imagine, if we're looking at it from the top down, so if we just got a piece of scrap paper, just to kind of show the idea of this. So we have a piece of scrap paper. Let's say the roof looks like this from the top. So if we were flying over the roof in a plane and we were looking down and we saw the roof and it looked like this, and maybe that was the back of the roof, and here's the chimneys. Here's the chimneys. We're flying over the roof. There's this part of the roof here, the round portion of the roof. And there's a couple other round. It's darker here, and then if the light is coming down like this, the sunlight, it gets a little lighter at this bottom portion of the roof where it's closer to the ground over here, and it's a little bit darker up here. So that's how you get that effect of dark up here and then lighter at the bottom of the roof where the eaves are. So that's all you have to remember. And the same thing happens over here if you were to turn the building, or if you were to walk around the back of the building or the back of the house, you would kind of see the same thing. It's lighter down here and it gets darker up towards the top of the roof, like that. And these are the chimneys on both sides, like that. That just explains the light pattern for this. And again, I'll try to splash on some colors, more colors. We'll get some purples and greens, and I'm going around the cones, the conical features of those roofs there. And again, I want to continue. Burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber a little bit, greens, sap green. That's a little darker. And then we have a little fun, interesting spot here. We have some, we're going to have to make some interesting sap green and yellow, cadmium lemon yellow. We have some ivy. Ivy is a little bit more darker, so let's make that more French ultramarine blue and sap green. And we're going to try to splash on some ivy like that. A little bit of finger painting maybe there. So wow, look at that, how exciting that looks. That's really cool. And then we'll take some yellow, cadmium lemon yellow at the top. Look at this. There we go, that's the sunlight up there where the ivy is. And then down here we did the darker darks, and that's the shadows. So there, that's all we have to do. Darker green underneath. And then there's some more up here. It kind of goes up this way a little bit. Like that. Along the side there. And then a couple more splashes. There we go. And we'll do our, maybe we'll add a little more yellow ochre to this here, just maybe to make this stand out a little bit, so that kind of looks a little bit. There we go. I'll get this cone here. Look at that. You add a little bit of a different wash to this, and you do it in a separate fashion, and you get that little bit of that separation that looks good. It looks like it's separate from the other parts of the roof, the cone portion here. That looks good. And look at this already. We've got a beautiful roof here, a nice slate roof, and we will add some more details to this, to the slate roof. We want to add some more details to it maybe. We'll add some shadowing underneath it, but wow, look how much we've gotten done already, and not a lot of work. Again, that work is really the drawing. If you get that drawing in, and again, don't spend too much time on the drawing. You know, just try to get it as best you can, as accurate as you can, and then you get in and you're going to have your fun with your paints. As I say, you know, watercolor is so much fun. It's a fun medium. You're going to have fun with it all the time, and all it is just going with the steps as I show, the methods that I show here. You know, you start off, you get your drawing done, you get your colors out onto your palette. We will clean this palette next after this break. We'll come up and we'll do a break next. And so you want to definitely keep your palette clean so that you have beautiful color. If you keep using the same colors over and over constantly, that's going to wind up maybe causing us an issue. So let's not have that happen. What we'll do is we'll take a break now. We've got our other chimney in here. Nice beautiful stone chimney. We're going to do the stone front of this house. You're going to really have fun with this. This is just the beginning, because remember, we are getting into the stonework now. That's going to be fun. And don't forget to add in some little pops of color here and there, right? Once you have this wash on, then you can really start, just add a couple spots of color, just like that. Look at that. But not too much. You don't want to go too much with adding too many accent areas where you're going to add in some, infuse in some colors in your rooftop here, you want to kind of leave it, you know, get that first wash on there like we did, and then maybe just go back in and add just maybe a couple areas where you might want to add a couple little extra exciting bits of color, but not too much. So I'll add a little bit of cerulean blue there, maybe here, soften it out like so. Look at that. And that's not difficult, just adding in some, maybe some, a little bit of, maybe we're going to add in a couple of little bits of alizarin crimson, just to give us a little more interesting color. It'll blend in, it'll soften up and lighten up a little bit. Always remember, watercolor paint goes on more intense and darker when you put it on the paper, but once it dries, it dries a lot lighter and it dries less intense. So don't worry about it. If you're watching me here and you're saying, oh, he just ruined it because he put that alizarin crimson in there, you'll notice once we come back after the break, you're going to see that that alizarin crimson actually is softened in there and blended in nice. And that's really the fun of watercolor, is once you kind of get to know it and you learn how it works really well, and then you're not really surprised. You know, you kind of, you know what's going to happen with the watercolors when you're working on them. You always know, oh yeah, it's always going to dry lighter. Your paintings are always going to dry lighter when you're putting washes on, and it's not going to look as intense either. It's going to look less intense as we go. So I'm just putting in a little bit of a stone top here on the chimneys, and I hope you're all having fun here. And we'll put the chimney pots on maybe after we do the sky washes. That's probably better. Does that make sense? We'll do the sky washes first, then we'll put the chimney pots over the top of that once that 100% dries. Because if we put the chimney pots on now, which will be a thick, dark red, or reddish yellow, like an orangey yellow, red, brown mix. If we put those on now with really thick color, when we go to do our sky wash, it'll reactivate that paint and it'll start to, blossom out, cauliflower out, as they call it, cauliflowers, blossoms, blooms, whatever you want to call that type of thing that happens. This way, we'll do the wash first on the sky, and then we do some darker darks. And then we might do the same for the trees, but I think we can do the trees first before we do the sky. I don't think that will be a problem, but these chimney pots, we're going to want to wait till the sky wash dries 100%. All right, let's take a quick break. And I always mention, please, if you haven't subscribed, right down here on the bottom of the screen here, you're going to see that subscribe button. Please subscribe. Hey, it helps me out, helps my numbers get better on YouTube, and it also helps all the new artists out there that haven't seen us before and they want to join along too and paint with us. So if you're subscribing to my channel, there's going to be other new artists that have never painted before, and they're going to have the same joy you have by finding this channel and being able to paint along with us and have a great time with watercolors. So I'm hoping you will subscribe. For me, helps me again with my YouTube channel to help my channel grow, and it also helps all the new people out there that haven't found watercolor yet, and they're excited and maybe want to learn it, but they haven't found the right site yet to help them grow and learn how to paint. And we'll help by continuing to share our channel. And let's keep painting together and having a great time. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come right back. All right, we are back again, and we're going to start painting. The first thing I wanted to do actually was to clean out the palette a little bit here. Always remember, your palette is really important. Your colors, once they start getting really mixed and muddy looking, you have to definitely take some time out, just a few minutes. You take some paper towel, you dip it in your water bucket, and you just clean up the palette a little bit. like that. And then I just, I use the paper towels to conserve a little bit. I use the paper towels that you can tear into halves, and then I tear it another time in half, like that, and then I leave them on the side over here. And then when I'm doing my cleanups, I just use, you know, a quarter of a paper towel. Saves and conserves a little. And then we'll be back in full swing here. So we're just going to continue with our stone colors now. So we started mixing our stone colors up here. We'll just continue with that. And our stone colors were yellow ochre, cerulean blue, so some cerulean blue, yellow ochre, a little bit of alizarin crimson, maybe some French ultramarine blue too, some darker bluish colors, some burnt umber, raw umber, a little bit of purple too. And we'll splash on. We'll just start in any old place. There you go. And we're doing stonework, so remember, stonework is, we're going to go around these fine detailed soffits here, like that. So we're going to try to capture those little beams. These are support beams underneath the roof eaves, and we're just going to try to hash those out. And then the darker we can make them, the more they're going to kind of stand out a little bit, which will look great. So we might take some purple and some blue, some darker darks with a little bit of burnt umber, and we'll just add some extra dark there underneath there, and then we'll put another dark line here across there. So what we're doing here is creating a little bit of a board underneath the eaves of the roof here, and some trim. That's some beams actually that support the eaves of the roof. I'm going to splash and then just work the colors. But here what I'm going to do is, you can see I'm going to leave the stone sill like that underneath with a shadow. Same here, a shadow under there. And if I do it once, let's do it everywhere, so we remember to do that. So we do that. We do another one over here on the bottom of that windowsill. And under here too, under this windowsill, let's do that. Same here. And then we did those, and let's do a little dark under there, like so. And then there, you see how that's quick and easy. That's an easy way to remember to get in your shadows quickly and effectively. Is if you see like, oh, I notice I got to do a shadow under this sill, then all of a sudden that should click into your mind. Let me do the rest of them so I don't forget any of them. And there we go. We start out, because we can do these first and then just let them be. We don't have to worry about doing them at any specific time. Just at the time we notice we have to do them, let's do them all. There we go. See? 1, 2, bottom of the sills, the window sills. Then up on the headers, underneath the window headers. Underneath here, the conical roof features. A couple more darks here and there. And then up here we have to do it too. A little bit of a dark under there. And there we have it. Look at that. And another maybe dark up here, like so, like that. Perfect. And I think that's pretty good. And then again, we're going to continue on, and this is the fun part, just doing some circular patterns for your stone. Some dots, some splashes, some circular patterns, maybe a couple rectangular patterns, Leave some white paper. Actually, leave a lot of white paper on the facade here. Leave a lot of white paper. So we're doing stonework. And the key and the fun of stonework is all you have to remember is you're going to make a lot of variation with your stones, with the actual stones that you're doing. So when I do a stone, I do a big stone here, then I do maybe 2 or 3 small ones. Then I do another big one here. A couple, 2, 3 small ones there. And that's all you have to do. And you just make them round in shape. Maybe make some rectangles too. Mix them all up. Squares, do some squares. Mix them up, use some of that blue too. We're going to mix up our colors for our stones. Cerulean blue. Add some cerulean into the colors. A couple splashes here and there. Then we are going to go around our coin corners. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as you're getting that sawtooth effect. You can kind of see that. A little bit of red in here too. And again, some greens in there too. We want some greens in our stone colors. These are going to be white, our shutters, so we remember to keep those white. Splash again for the really tiny stones and cement feel. And that's all I'm doing is there we go. You can do a couple dark spots. That gives you a feeling of interesting there we go. More yellow ochre. A couple more splashes. You can see I use splashes. Yellow ochre. You can make some blocks of light too. I mean some blocks of medium tone. Remember, it's going to dry lighter. You can also blot up a couple spots if you find that you're not happy with the texture or something like that. You can always blot up a couple spots like that. That's fine too. So the stonework for you is, it's up to you how detailed you want to go with it. We're just going to keep working on over here too. And again, I'm using all the colors that we mixed. Some red, blue, green. Definitely want to have some greens mixed in there because that will blend everything together nicely. And again, lots of splashing will give you, you got to be careful with the splashing. Use a very small brush and use just a little bit of water and paint to get it very, very fine. If you don't feel comfortable splashing, I wouldn't do it so much, maybe just a little bit. You can also, if you feel more comfortable, you can get some paint on your brush like so, and then you can take another brush and you can really carefully, you get some water and paint on the smaller brush here that we're using, and then you can take another brush on here and then just do some, and if you do that, it's less chance you're going to have splashing going all over the rest of the paper. So this is a nice little method to splash without losing control of it and going everywhere. You can take your smaller brush, load it up with some paint and water, the color of the stone, like so, hold it close to the paper, and you take another brush and just tap on it. Like this. And that's just a little bit of a more accurate way of splashing if you want to get your splashes more accurate. And again, we're going to do some more stonework over here. I'll make it darker up there, some purple. Maybe a little bit of cobalt blue, just a little darker up there. So that will be our shadowing over here. Some cobalt blue. A little bit, a little more cobalt blue over here, shadow under there. And again, that will lighten up, so don't worry about it if your shadow's a little dark. Some shadow under there, underneath the shutters where we have our shutter details. There's a little bit of shadow under those features there. And we had some shadow under there too as well. Okay. And we'll separate this a little bit from the shutters. Okay, look at that. We're really making tons of progress here, right? Are you getting a lot of this progress back at home where you are? I'm hoping you are. I'm hoping you're really having a fun time and really enjoying this and seeing that it's really, you're just having a lot of fun with the paints and the colors. And it's not so much, like we're trying to get too fancy with anything. It's really just straightforward. We get our drawing done and then we just start mixing paints, getting lots of beautiful mixes of colors, and we're just adding in those colors to our areas of our subject matter. This happens to be a gorgeous stone house in the countryside. And, I can just envision some, really enjoyable times here. Maybe a party with some guests and a little bit of wine and beer and having a fun time, barbecuing in the back of our gorgeous house here and just having a fun time. And summertime, time to be festive and have a good time. And I think that's good. I don't want to go too much more. I think we have a really good balance of colors, textures. We can keep adding more colors. We could do that. We could add a little bit of cadmium lemon yellow for some warm sunshine color. That definitely helps. Put a little bit up here in the roof. There we go. That will dry off and look good. A little bit of that warm yellow bright sunlight feel. Okay, and we'll do a little bit of some shadowing under here by the door. There's some more shadowing around the door there. We can add in a little bit of white, titanium white, with some splashes to make a little more ivy type feel over here. So right now I think we're looking fine. Maybe our stone steps here. Let's just a couple lines like so for our steps. We can go in and just mix our greens right in here. Sap green, olive green, a little bit of yellow ochre. And I'm not going to go to I'm going to keep this real simple. I'll splash in some of my bushes here. A little bit of sap green and a little cadmium lemon yellow. Then a little bit of the darker green, sap green, olive green. A little bit of finger painting here just to break up the brush work instead of doing everything with the brush. Use a little bit of finger painting. Maybe this one will be a little more, some red in there. And again, let me mix in some of that red everywhere. Perfect. Okay. We're coming along really well. Let's start our trees and bushes over here. I'm going to go to a larger brush. I'll go with a number 6. So you can see it's about twice as thick. So this is a number 6 and this is a number 4, a number 4 and a number 6. So I'm just upsizing a little bit. Same thing, watercolor brush. Let's see what we can do here. Let's get some gold in there. Kind of mix the same colors we had. So I'm just going to do a little splashes like that. And then maybe I change the color just a little bit. And that blends right in over here. And I let that blend into the roof a little bit. Splash a little bit. A little bit of dark blue here for the shadowing underneath the tree. Maybe there's some shadows under there. Okay. Okay, so we have some trees over here. That blends in. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to take a break soon. There we go. That's a little better. I kind of felt like I was a little bit, you know, kind of squished in here. That's why I didn't get a good brush work. You know, sometimes I feel like if I have more open paper, I have more room to do more, you know, be more free with my brush, and kind of over here I kind of felt squished in here. Let me do that. There we go. Much better. And I'm holding my brush on the side like this and just kind of scrubbing on there like that. You know, circular patterns, like so. Then we can add in some brighter greens. Maybe some darker blue under here, just to darken it up under there a bit. Then you can add in some more darker darks, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber. Just maybe some shadowing underneath here, some of these spots. Let them blend in. Like that. That always looks good. You know, some dark spots on your trees, some light spots. Lighter spots are up top on the top of the tree where the sun is coming down on top of the leaves. Underneath is some shadowing, some blues, some purples. You can mix up some darks. We'll add in some purples to this too. That always looks good. A couple of let me just blot up a little bit if you add the wrong color in the wrong place, no big deal. I'm going to overlap the tree on the house a little bit here. That always looks good. Same over here. A little bit of green over here. Touch of raw umber to that. Touch more of water just to, so I can splash it on. And that's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of bring those trees sort of overlapping onto the house a little bit. I think that looks good. A little bit of blue. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm going to say let's let this dry now, and we'll finish up our foreground here. Maybe some more, maybe we'll have some stones here in the front. Maybe we're not going to use this path so much. Maybe we'll just mix in that bluish brown stone feel, like the front of this, for the front of our stone house. We're going to blend that same color of the stone on the front of the house into the front of the house on the ground level, at the ground. So I'm going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll clean up the palette a little bit. We'll do some distance shapes and colors over here on both sides here, kind of to lead our eyes into around the sides of the house, into the back area of the house. And then once we have that completed, we're going to get our sky wash in and we'll be all completed. So you can see how this painting is a lot of fun. And again, not too much technical stuff. It's just really having fun with the paint, the washes, splashing, you know, coming up with some texture, some good colors, good color mixes, good textures. Our trees here look pretty good too, kind of abstract. They don't look too, you know, formal looking or anything like that, or, you know, they look just very loose. And that looks kind of really nice in this type of a painting where you have all that stonework and the way that we painted the house. So you want the trees to match your house. If you do a lot of splashing in your stone house, you're going to want to do a good amount of splashing in your trees too. That'll blend all together. It'll all match, so to speak, and blend and harmonize. So let's keep that in mind. And with that, let us come back in just 5 or 10 minutes and we can finish up. Okay, we are back and we are excited here because we're finishing up. Isn't the last few minutes of your painting the most exciting, right? When you're doing those final details, you had a good time doing your painting. You see that it came out really well for yourself. You know, everyone out there, you know, when you ask yourself the question, you know, as you're painting, is this coming out good? Is this looking okay? Always remember, try to finish your painting out almost to the very, very last few sections of your painting before you get too judgmental on how it's turning out, because a lot of times watercolors, they don't really look great as you're going through the process until toward the finishing points of your painting. I've heard many great professional artists say that, and it's very true, and I always thought that to myself as well. That, you know, a lot of times when I was painting, especially in the beginning when I first started watercolor painting, and I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but I want you to actually have this information too. I want you to feel encouraged and not get stressed and worried over your paintings too soon. Sometimes, I admit, all of us, we all sometimes do a painting where you kind of like sense from the beginning it's not going well. Maybe for some reason you're trying to do too many paintings in one day, or you're just tired. Maybe you had like a long day at work, or just a lot of things you were doing during the day and you were distracted, and then you start doing a painting and it starts to look not so great, and you kind of have that feeling. I get that too. We all have that. There is sometimes when you just scrap it and you say, all right, I'm just going to put this paper to the side and start another one, or wait till the next day to start another one. So we all have those times, but there's other times too when you just need to keep working your painting, keep going through it. Most times you just need to just keep working and finish the painting out. And even if maybe one section didn't come out good, maybe the other sections look okay and you learned a few things as you were working through it. So what I'm saying is, please don't get discouraged on your paintings if you're starting out and it looks something doesn't go right, or you smudge something or whatever, or what have you. Just keep working through it. You'll always learn something if you just keep painting and not worry about it. If you just keep painting and working on your painting, finish it all out, and then you say, oh, okay, this one's not so great, no big deal. And then you start another one, you know, the next day or a couple of days, whatever, however, you know, ever often you do paint. And I know many of you paint a lot, and that's great. You're getting much better. And then also too, if you get stressed and you're tired of it, take a week off and just watch nothing but YouTube videos. You could go back in my archives and watch those. There's other great videos out there on YouTube, you know, with great information. You can, you know, do a lot of fun things and take a break sometimes too. I always say take breaks once in a while. Even take a break from painting for a week and just maybe read some stuff in one of your art books you have, or you know, watch a couple more videos than you might normally do on YouTube. It's always good, but don't ever get discouraged. If you feel tired and some of the paintings are not turning out great, you just take a quick break for a week and then come back at it again. That's it. That's what I did. And you just keep working at it, and you'll be just getting better and better every time you create a new painting. So here, again, we were just talking about it, the fun time of the watercolor painting. We're finishing up here. Everything turned out good so far. We're going to do some simple finishing touches. We're going to do some burnt sienna and some raw umber and a little bit of blue. And we'll do our chimney pots up here. Like that, maybe a little bit of red in there. A little bit of cadmium red. So I'm just adding in some cadmium red to my chimney pots there. And this one over here. Maybe a little bit of orange. Look at that, perfect. And we'll do our weather vane. Okay. And what else are we going to do here? Okay, I noticed I'd like to take some titanium white. So I take my titanium white tube. That's trying to speak here clearly, and I'm tired. But here we go. We mix in a little bit of yellow ochre into our titanium white. And then we're going to do some highlights and some corrective measures. I think I'd like to make those more subtle, those boards here. So I'm going to try to cover those up a little bit. And then maybe a highlight here, just on top of this, maybe. I will need a little bit of water. So I just add some water to my, and then I just want to put a little bit of extra highlight there. That looks good. A highlight here maybe. So now we can add just a few highlights here and there that are going to enhance what we're looking to achieve, which is some really bright sunlight. I think we've captured that. So a couple of spots here and there. And that looks fine. I did notice over here by the steps, there's a little bit of a, so I just want to add some of that, just like that. Maybe a couple more indications of some speckles for rocks. And that's really, I think, everything else looks pretty good. Oh, I wanted to do one more thing as well. I just want to do a little more of the over here. We had some ivy like that. We could recapture some of these. sometimes you can add just a touch here and there, maybe to recapture some lights. That's all. So all you need is a very, very pointy, sharp point brush. You could also use a needlepoint brush as well. As long as you have a sharp brush and you mix your white with a little bit of yellow ochre and titanium white, you can mix a little bit out in your pan. You could use it right out of the tube, and you just try to capture some of those highlights here and there, but not too many. This is where we just, for a couple minutes, we just added a few lights, and that's all we want to do. We don't want to add too much more. That'll tend to lose the effect of that little bit of light bouncing off certain things. Like so here, I could maybe do this. But then again too, if I keep doing that, you'll see that it tends to kind of become too much. It tends to become a problem. So that's where I'm going back in and lifting out what I did, because I noticed it doesn't look so great. And that's there. And I noticed here, don't be afraid to go in and just touch up a few spots. No big deal. Green, raw umber, just a couple of the colors we were using, yellow ochre. As long as you get it somewhat close, dry off a little bit off the brush. I just wanted to get this line over here a little better along this side here. There we go. As well. That's all. I felt like I wanted to just add a few more. There we go. And a couple more splashes over here. And maybe a couple. Couple bushes back there, just to and if you make those bushes in the background over here a little more blue than green, that'll give you that feeling of like distance. And then if you need to, I think this is going to really look good. I'll just get a needlepoint brush here, add some burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, cerulean blue maybe a little bit of green. And we can just do some branches and things and twigs back here. We just want to make this wash very light. For the branches and things back here. But this does really look good if you put these in the distance. A couple here and there. A few here over this way. If you just add a few of these, it really does, you know, just give you a few more details that really kind of look good. A couple over here. And not too many, just a few here and there. Maybe even in here looks good. It brings a little more realism to the bushes and the trees and things. But again, not too many. You can see I'm not overdoing it. There we go. Okay. We had a fun time here. Thanks so much for coming by. I appreciate it very much. We'll come back and we'll do another video very soon. We'll create something beautiful in watercolor. We'll cover everything, all the steps, all the methods, everything you need to get it done. And again, this is a great medium. Watercolor is a phenomenal medium. Please stick with it. Keep having fun. Keep following the steps. Keep watching our videos, coming back week after week, and you'll be learning and growing. And glad that you're joining along with us here to paint and create beautiful watercolors. Okay, so we'll see you on the next video.